it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. What you been doing?
Not much.
Is it really hot there too?
Pardon?
Is it really hot there too?
It is, yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's it been like?
Today's I think the hottest day. It's supposed to be up to 33, but then looks to 40. So I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit. It's a lot.
Okay, I don't know.
I know it's you multiply by 2 and then do some fancy dancy stuff.
Yeah.
I search on Google. I'm like Fahrenheit. It's good. Just the hottest day.
Okay.
But that's okay. Phelan and I were only like bickering yesterday at each other because of the heat. It's kind of funny.
Oh.
You know?
Yeah.
He's going to be a couple minutes. Hello, Helena. Hello, Karen. Did you guys have any questions? I know last class was big.
Can I start off with a question, please?
Yeah.
Okay, so I have 3. Okay, my first one is if I have a page that's organized for asset performance management system, can I rank on another page the same asset performance management software instead of system? Or am I competing with myself when it comes to that?
Oh, that's a really good question. So, Phelan, the question is software versus system, the end of a keyword string. Are they 2 different keywords or will they cannibalize each other? Technically, they're 2 different keywords. Okay. You should be fine.
I think also the rest of the content on the page will clarify how, because Google takes that all into context. So if you're talking about like here, email marketing software versus email marketing systems, and then the rest of it is like, how do you set up an email marketing system? Like the context that happens around the rest of the content will clarify for Google how it understands what the keyword you're targeting.
So thank you. So that leads me to my next question then. So should I rank with my own name, like my own company name?
I would. That's what you would usually do with the about page, right? Unless your about page or the about page, usually you try to brand it, right? Because it's about you, like your team pages, you would try to optimize for the team member's name and potentially what their job is.
Okay.
Yeah, like the about page is definitely one where you could do the name of the company and then also what you do as a general. Seymour Digital Media, learn about Seymour Digital Media, digital marketing. That gives you an opportunity to have brand name plus like what it is your service does.
So even if it's like a long name already, because
you're generally what we always do is have the keyword goes, the page title will have keyword retargeting pipe, which is the straight up and down line that's above return, and then brand name. So it would be like digital marketing agency pipe Seymour Digital Media.
Okay. And that's
go ahead.
Because are people searching for that? Because that's the question that has to be asked. So it's like, if people don't know what my company is, like how would they know based off of my name?
So remember in the search journey where people are coming to from. So these aren't for people that haven't heard from you necessarily, right? So people do, if you look in Google Analytics, people will see an ad, click on it, and then come back via organically or vice versa. If you look in Google Search Console, somebody does know your name, so they're looking up your business. You can do anything you want and optimize it for a different page. My question to you would be, have you looked in Search Console for what this page is ranking for?
Can I share my screen?
Yeah.
And then we can...
Oh, we'll allow it this time.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. So how can I do that?
Okay. What I want you to do is go and watch the new keyword class in Google Search Console this week. Uh,
you're already into a specific page
Yeah,
because you can
yeah.
see along the row there.
So,
that you're
okay.
doing.
So number one, do the class. Number two, what is this page? Is this the page you want to look at? Okay, so apply. Okay, so now scroll down a bit. Now go over to pages and see which pages have showed up for that, what you picked. So it's what, now click on that. Perfect. And now go over to queries, right?
Oh, yes.
Perfect. And now you can see like what the page is ranking for.
Oh, yes.
What are you going to do? You're going to look for keyword that's on page 1, potentially with a high search volume. That's what you're hoping for. So it doesn't look like there's much search volume.
Sorry, I meant to ask how can I see like where the searches are coming from again?
This is all Google, right? So this is
Okay.
just coming from Google. So the impressions are the number of searches.
I see. And so there's no way to look at, oh, I get, okay, if you're saying they're all coming from Google, then they're all Googling this, right?
Yeah.
Basically?
Yeah. So these are your web page. This specific page shows up for the keywords that are listed in the queries here in the table below, right? Now you've filtered out, I believe you have 2 filters. So you have cat smartphone now at the top because you clicked on it. But that gets you right into that one keyword and all the information about the website. So this is where you start to look.
Hold on. There's also one clarification because there's different. You can also tab over to search appearance and the same call a menu at the bottom there that there's queries,
table.
pages, countries, devices, search appearance, and you don't have enough data for them to show up, but it can't show up like we have some clients that show up for discovery is the big one right now. So the Google discovery. And so that you can't see that as well.
Yeah, but you'll only see that if you have,
if you've showed up for it. Right now you're not showing up for it, but that's the other spots. You can't show up in different Google properties. Just letting you know that part.
Yeah. So this is just Google information, right? So you could want to look at analytics just to see like, you know, do I need to update the page? Are people spending time on this page? Where are they going after this page? What is the action they're supposed to take on this page? All questions to ask. But you can also go into the Google Keyword Planner and take the URL and just search to see what keywords show up there too.
Yes.
And I know some people use like Ahrefs and Rush to do the same kind of searches. So for the about page, technically you do want to rank for your business name. You also might want to rank for what your business is about, if you can. You got to think about what the user is going to do. So if the user lands on this page versus like the home page, what are they going to want to know? A lot of people write their about pages about themselves, and which is good. I would use that more for like team pages, but you have to write. It's really hard to do from the client's perspective. So what does a client want? Like when they land on the about page, what do you think they want to know? What would you want to know? So like how long, maybe because you're trying to build trust. How long have they been in business? What makes them different? All the things. Okay. But that's not about keywords. So never mind. That's about on-page stuff.
Well, but it's also about finding keywords that match the point in the journey as you're going down the funnel from attention to awareness to action, right? Like each one of those steps, you want to have a page that meeting that. So some people might not even know what is the problem that you're solving. So you start off, how do I get found on Google? And that's going to be your very high level. They don't even know what the solution is. Then from there, you're doing like, what makes our audits and strategies better than other people's? And then that's comparing it to other people. And then your last one is like having a keyword of top SEO agencies near me. And so each one of those steps is mapping out is keywords picked relevant to what someone's thinking at that part of their journey, because everyone's at different phases.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. That actually cleared up a lot.
Yeah,
Good.
that's what we're here for, is help.
Were those your 3
clarify.
questions? Did we answer them?
I actually do have one more then. So how do you measure, I might have missed this class, I'm not sure, but how do you measure domain authority? Or do you?
We don't.
We choose not to do domain authority.
It's not an officially acknowledged metric by Google. It was made up
Yeah.
by Moz, and so
There's Moz's, there's Ahrefs, and there's SEMrush. So there's domain authority. I don't know what the
there's a
keyword density.
and then there's keyword authority is one that SEMrush came up with.
Yeah, so they all name them differently. They're trying to say the same thing, and we don't. Now, this is where the difference in SEO happens, right? In what different SEOs do. So we chose not to base our numbers on that, and we base what we choose to do based on Google Search Console and the Google Keyword Planner. That's how we choose our keywords. And then we check in the search engine results pages to see if we can rank for that keyword because of the competitors. Like, what are the competitors doing? And that's how we do it versus using domain authority. So some SEOs do use domain authority. Yeah.
One of the big differences of why we pick that is that not only does Google not officially recognize it, but you also got to keep in mind that most of the SEMrush and Ahrefs are really good if you have a general blog that's not tied to a physical location. So anything involving local SEO, their numbers are just not good enough. At least that's our experience. Like, you would have to go to a specific local SEO company like Bright Local. Whitespark, I recommend if you're in Canada, because they're based in Edmonton, so they actually care about the Canadian market and getting decent data on it. And they're just going to, their SEMrush and versus Whitespark are just very different, and it has to do, you have to keep in mind what the business is. If you've got physical locations and you're tied to a physical market, then you're going to be looking at it differently, and definitely use Google's tools because they just have more data on local markets than Ahrefs, because they're limited. They're not Google. They don't have billions of dollars in server farms racking up all this data. They've got what they got. And so you got to keep that in mind when you're doing like an analysis of keywords.
So overall, you would say like the domain authority isn't really.
It depends on who you're working for and what they want you to do. I don't think it's necessary, but I would check in because everybody's got their way of doing things, right?
And ours is the right way. There's only one way to do it, and our way is the right way to do it.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, that's exactly how that works. Yeah, it's one of those things where it is good to know. It's not one that I would live and die by. It's basically the way I think of it. It's like because you're still going after competition in the keyword planner. That's a big one. And then also like the search volumes.
Yeah.
And those are really going to tell you a lot more detail about what you're going after than what they're doing, because you got to remember SEMrush and Ahrefs are also guessing, whereas Google is telling you, because Google's the one that's actually ranking people. So if they have a tool that's telling you how they're ranking people, you probably should use their tool because they're the ones actually doing the ranking at the end of the day. The other guys are they're guessing. I hate to put it like so crassly, but that's basically all they're doing, is they're like guessing what Google's doing.
Okay, so it's not as accurate as Google.
Yeah, because Google's the one that does the actual ranking. So at the end of the day, their information on how the people are ranking in searches and all that stuff is going to be way more accurate than anyone else's. Even if they're wrong per se, they're right in the sense that they're still the ones doing the presenting your website to people. Yeah, that's the mental model that we have, is that no matter what these other tools say, they're not the ones that are you don't go to SEMrush and type a query in. They're a tool. They're not the ones that are actually like showing the company off.
Yeah.
That opened up a whole portal in my brain. Like that just made a lot of sense. Thank you so much for that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, and it's like long been one where we've been trying to figure this stuff out as well. So like you're catching us at the end of tearing through all these tools and like hearing hundreds of I've listened to so many interviews with Tim Sallow. Really funny guy, really smart guy. He's the guy at Ahrefs, but even he's like they advertise in podcasts and they don't even measure it. They just throw money at podcasts and just be like, yeah, just promote us. We don't even measure in our Google Analytics. Even the guys that are all data driven at the end of the day, sometimes they're just like, yeah, whatever. Like either number goes up or number goes down.
Yeah. And the most fun of all of this is when you pick a keyword for a page, you optimize the page, and all of a sudden you start seeing it in Google Search Console. Honestly, that's probably one of the most rewarding experiences. So yeah, it sounds like you're trying to optimize a couple pages on a website.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah, that's exciting, eh?
It is exciting, yeah. But it's so much information that I'm just constantly stressing myself out. Did I add this? Do I add this? Like,
it's a lot. So here's the thing. There are some SEOs that just focus on page SEO. And they'll just do the content and maybe the meta descriptions, titles, URLs. But they don't think about, they're not thinking about multimedia on a page necessarily. So, because there are so many different components of SEO, right? You have getting people to your site, and then you have keeping people on your site, and then you have telling the robots what is on your site. And with all these different things, like there's like an SEO project can encompass, for us, we do Google Business Profile. So we do local SEO, which is Google Business Profile, and then the name NAP around the web. So that's the main part of locals. Answering reviews. Inside the Google Business Profile, we do posts, we do an image strip, we create products, we update services, we add the info, right? The on-page SEO, we do keyword research and then meta descriptions, titles, URLs, and then we map the whole website so we can see what was there and what we're going to put there, attach the keyword research, and then after we do the meta descriptions, titles, URLs, then we do the alt tags or we do the redirects, because we make sure that that new page with the new URL, that the old page is going to the new page. And then we do the image, and you're going to do the alt tag. And if you have to, you're going to resize the image for weight. And then you move to the on-page SEO component. It's a lot. That's why if you ever meet like people that do an SEO for $70, like a month, they're not doing anything or they're not good at it. And so SEOs can make really good money. And the combination, the reason you combine SEO and Google Ads is because when you're doing SEO, one of the hardest things is telling people, hey, it'll work in 6 months to a year, and keeping them on board and keeping them engaged and helping them understand what you're doing, all the things. So when you do Google Ads, you're like, I can get you up there right away, and then we can work on your SEO. So you have the short-term strategy and the long-term strategy. And then add in social, and now you're rich as a marketer. Of course, you're never sleeping. That's okay. It's okay.
Also, when the thing you want to tell clients as well is that basically you have to think of it as just going off what Pip said, is the goal that you want to do is SEO, because it's a virtuous cycle, right? The better your rankings are, the more people click on it, the more keywords you're ranking, like it builds itself, but it's a flywheel. It takes a lot of energy to get it moving. So it's one of those ones that you can move away from ads over time and put more money into the SEO, do more work of the SEO, and then over time that's going to increase your rankings. But yeah, there's a lot of it which is like I always use the term augury. Like you're basically divining, and it's very ephemeral to try to explain it to people that you're like, yes, we're doing all these things and Google will reward us, because there's no I do one thing and then it fixes a website permanently and like it's ranking really well. Like, that's very rare. That's the case.
Yes. Fun. Who wants to do SEO now?
Yeah.
I was thinking of actually adding so because next class is schema. It's like a template that you copy and paste and then work through, which you'll learn. And then the next class is image optimization. And I was gonna go and instead of starting Google Ads, right after that, I was gonna do a meta mapping class. So where we could go keyword research, we could go write some meta descriptions, titles, and URLs so you guys can get some firsthand experience. And I can give you feedback on the stuff you've written for what I would say. Right now, the great thing about SEOs is you are one of the final decision makers. So you're going to have all the knowledge and then you make the choice on what you think is best. And then you test it and you look, and because that experience is important, because you'll do all this stuff for SEO, you'll show your clients and then they'll be like, no. And the client's always right, basically, in the end, badly. Okay, they're not right, but you have to make sure they're happy, anything front facing. So how would
Yeah,
y'all like to do the meta mapping together?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you
Yes,
want to do the
yes,
right? Okay, perfect. Okay, so
Karen has
fun.
spoken.
Yay, Karen, you're back.
Hey, I'm working through all the classes again, and yes,
Yeah.
I've gotten rid of the rest of the people in my house for about 6 days. So I'm going to be
Oh,
all
nice.
pip and failing all the time.
Oh,
that
that's
sounds really fun.
that's terrifying.
I kind of
I
get sick of
wouldn't want to
myself
hear me
sometimes.
that much.
Yeah, I think I'm quite interesting, really. No, maybe not. But that sounds fun. If you have questions, we're here. We're run off our feet right now at our little agency. So
Yes, I am.
Thank you. That's good.
Especially with, I don't know how everyone else is doing, but I don't know how it's in Gig Harbor, but it is hot as Hades right here. I am not enjoying this.
yeah, Phil, it gets. Oh yes, many years ago. Have you ever seen the movie Do the Right Thing? I think it's called Do the Right Thing. Okay, so it was
the Spike Lee movie.
yeah, about the riots.
Yeah,
That happened?
no, it's a fictional Brooklyn riot.
Yeah, it wasn't fictional. Actually, it happened. Okay, the movie's fictional. I watched this movie and I saw that movie and I got in a huge argument after. And I said, people aren't like, that wouldn't happen because of the heat. 3 days later, there were like huge riots.
It was the LA
because of the
riots.
heat. Yeah, because of the heat. Heat makes
But
people irritable.
it certainly doesn't hurt, but there's lots of things that are going on.
Yeah, I know, but who here gets more irritable in the heat? Phelan, you need to raise your hand.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No. My ancestors are meant to be on a windswept rock at 10 degrees Celsius at all times. Yeah, we're not meant for heat.
Yeah, so you all love the heat. That's what I'm hearing. You're like, oh, it's fine.
No way. We had heat last week. We're good now.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
the heat dome left you guys and came to us. That's what it was.
You can keep it.
Yeah. Yeah, so no, I'm ready for this to be over.
Okay. Any more questions? We got 4 minutes. Countdown timer is on.
4 minutes. All the questions you have.
Okay. I'll close
I have
out.
a quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, do it.
Okay.
Go.
How would you do meta descriptions for quotes?
Oh, what
Would
do you
you
mean
just
quotes?
do-
Oh, what do you mean
Like
quotes?
a blog with quotes.
What's the blog about? Or the blog post about?
It's basically posts of people's quotes.
Okay, interesting. And they're quoting like what a
Is
great
it a
person you are.
testimonial?
No, just inspirational.
Oh, okay, interesting. Okay, so make sure not to use quotation marks inside the meta description because it
Okay.
will truncate them. So you're never allowed to write quotation marks inside a meta description. So I would definitely want to let the reader know what the page is about. And it sounds like it's about inspirational quotes. And I would maybe pick my industry name if like I couldn't figure out any good keyword.
Yeah. To me, it sounds like the page would be like here are the quotes, the timeless quotes that inspire us to keep doing our work at digital marketing. I like something like
Yeah.
that. So it's because it would be, that's generalizable enough that if someone were to read that they would go, oh, I'm going to expect quotes that inspire the people to do more JavaScript. I just whatever.
But that would be for the main page, but for each post for the quote.
Oh,
So-
I would aggregate them. I don't see a reason why if you're
How
having a,
long are these pages?
Oh, they're not.
They need
Yeah,
to be above 300 words, right?
yeah, put them all
Yeah.
on one. Put them all on one.
Put
There's
'em
no
all on one.
point. Like, there's no point in making them all little separate. Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
they're definitely. I
Well,
would.
because what I mean,
It wouldn't
why?
make sense for people to just have multiple pages of that, and like people are expecting you to just run through different pages. If it was one long continuous one of quotes, that kind of makes sense. If people would be like,
Well,
"Oh, that's really awesome." But
especially when people are looking up quotes. So if you're trying to index, looked up Google quotes for the beginning of my presentations. For whatever purpose, some people will look up quotes to use for social media. The great thing about the quote page is if you can source them all and link outside to the outside site, see how fast that page ranks, because that's a strategy, right? Like using a strategy that's copying WikiLeaks or sorry, Wikipedia.
Okay.
Wikipedia. They have lots of links. That's one of the reasons they're top ranking, because they link to all their sources. And that's actually the technique I used for ranking my Google Analytics 4 setup page.
Mhm.
Specifically did a page over a blog post too. So that's another discussion
Okay.
though. The question.
Okay, thank you.
So see you all Thursday, right? Let me check. Because I
Could
yeah,
be.
Thursday. Okay. Bring your working hats because it's going to be an interesting class.
Sorry, when did you say it was going to be that meta mapping class?
That's going to be, so we have next is schema, then image optimization, then meta mapping. So 3 weeks.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay. Talk soon.
Stay cool.
Thank you.
You too.
You
Bye.
too. Bye.
Bye.